The amazing work done by nature gives here eye-pleasing color and landscape. Plentiful rain and modest temperature of subtropics give here flourish plants. Here, there are craggy and topping mountains and sequestered barrancles. Brooks, lakes, and silver waterfalls gather around trees and mountains. There are old and simple rurality and unique local culture. Houses are built on mountains, and people live at waterside poetically, which like great painting drawn by art master. It is Wulingyuan, which is named as Chinese Xanadu by ancient Chinese. Wulingyuan scenic spot lies in the northwest of Hunan province. It is the core scenic spot of Zhangjiajie city. Because it has outstanding geological structure, complete biological system, and splendid climbs, in December 1992, it is listed by UNESCO in World Heritage List and become the nature heritage of all human beings. In March 2003, it is even dubbed by UN a World Geological Park and become one of the first World Geologic Parks in China. Wulingyuan in spring is a place full of nimbus. Every mountain and raceway all mirror fancy color. The landscape, like Chinese watch painting, even shows itself in unique artistic conception. It is not sure since when in most scenic spots of Wulingyuan there are legends behind them. Some of the legends are part of history, some are myths which are hard to tell true or not. They accompany those magical and elaborate sceneries. They depend on each other like shadow never leaves body. As time goes by, visitors that come here won't care whether those legends are true or not. The legend of Tianzi Mountain goes like this. In the Hongwu age in Ming Dynasty, the leader of Tujia folk fought against those magnates, and he names himself as Xiangwang Tianzi and established shark cages villages around Tianzi Mountain. However, this revolt soon be repressed by national troops of Ming Dynasty.
To commemorate him, the local people named those places he once lived and fought in as Tianzi. That's how the mountain gets the name Tianzi. Tianzi Mountain Nature Reserve lies in the northwest part of Wulingyuan scenic spot and occupies nearly 100 square kilometers. The summit of it is at an elevation of more than 1,200 meters above sea level, which is also the top of the whole Wulingyuan. Because Tianzi Mountain is high, people can enjoy the scenery from three sides of it, east, south, and west. The visiting way around the mountain is as long as 45 kilometers, and is the best way of visiting Wulingyuan. There are a lot of different clouds of Tianzi Mountain. Some like fog, some like sea, and some like sea waves, hills and cotton, etc. Cloud fog is most marvelous celestial phenomenon which is most frequently appear in Tianzi Mountain. In a fresh fine day after a long rain or in drizzles, thin and big fog appears firstly, and then it forms clouds which flows around the mountains. The mountains appear and disappear now and then in boundless cloud sea, and makes people feel they are in fairyland. After enjoying the sea clouds of Tianzi Mountain, Hualong Park is also a scenic spot that worth us to pay a visit. Hualong is one of the founders of People's Republic of China and People's Revolution Army. He was born at the west side of Tianzi Mountain, Sangji Town, Zhangjiajie City. During the Revolution War, General Hualong and General Ren Bishi also fought against Kuomintang troops at the areas around Tianzi Mountain.
By hard bushfighting, to commemorate him, the local government built his park on Tianzi Park. The bronze of Hualong is 6.5 meters tall and as heavy as 9.3 tons. This bronze accompanies with the beautiful scenery of Wulingyuan, grandeur and harmonious. In Hualong Park, there is an observatory about 100 square meters. Standing on it, you can see pines and cypresses grow thrively around. Abysses below, and all the valleys and mountains are right under your feet. Those sandstone mountains of Wulingyuan can be treated as the key of those marvelous spectacles. According to the experts, there are 3,103 sandstone mountains of Wulingyuan. Nature, just like an outstanding sculpture master, chisels every mountain here. None of the mountains are not lifelike. They are all vivid, visual, and breathing. Said by the local people that clouds and fogs of Tianzi Mountain are full of spirit. They will present regular change of different seasons. Fogs are thin in spring, thick in summer, high in fall, and low in winter. It seems that after visiting spring fog, we will still have to come back in summer, fall, and winter. The Yubi Mountain, which locates at the west side of Tianzi of Tianzi Mountain, is among the quartzitic mountains of Wulingyuan, the most representative one.
There is an array of 6 stone pillars on the mountain. Every stone pillar is about 100 meters tall, just as straight and sharp as a pen. It is created by the amazing nature. And the actual reason that forms it is weatherance, breaking down and cutting.
A local people related to the legend of Xiangwang Tianzi.
They say after Xiangwang Tianzi sacrificed, his pen changes into a stone mountain and got him by the Shentang Bay. The Shentang Bay lies on Tianzi Mountain.
It's a forbidden area of Wulingyuan.
This concavity deep valley is more than 150 mu. Around the valley, there are cliffs as high as 100 zhang and jungles at the bottom. After entering Shentang Bay, there's no way to go. The clinker-built mountains from 9 levels, and the local people say man will lose part of his guts as climbing down every level.
According to the local Wuling diary,
Xiangwang Tianzi, the Dujia leader of revolt troops in Qing dynasty, failed because their troops were small and weak. He was beaten and fell in the deep valley.
Since then, from the bottom of Shentang Valley, it can always be heard of the sound of horse and yelling of men. The beautiful and solemn legend adds mysterious color to Shentang Bay, and also attract many bright and brave men to make a venture there riskily. But till now, there is still no pathfinder comes back successfully. The sounds pass from the valley. Some says it's animal sound,
while others say the stones of Shentang Bay has magnetism and record the sound of wild wind storms, thunder and lightning.
And under certain conditions, those sounds are released. Some even say the reason why the Shentang Bay kills people is malaria, so that nobody dare to come to it during hundreds of years. However, all I hear today is howling wind. West Sea is a valley-like crowd of valleys and hills. The stone peaks here are various, like a peculiar stone forest sea. Thousands of peaks over peaks composed a splendid painting. Every time when rain stops, sun goes out, and clouds fall like waves. The scenery is really significant. Sometimes there also appear sort of irregular clouds, which is a temporary phenomenon caused by irregular rain. This kind of cloud, sometimes like the wall fire, rise straightly from the cliff of stone forest. Some, like rolling waves, appear around the ridges. While the peak and foot of the mountains are clear, sometimes they gather about people's heads and forms thick, dark and enormous smoky clouds, which covers all rays in sky.
Then soon, the sun comes out again, shines brightly. The summits of all peaks appear above the cloud sea, like golden filaments floating among the clouds and fogs. It makes people can't help recalling the poem, "There is a fairy mountain above the sea, which is hidden in clouds and fogs." After the clouds and fogs fade, right under the West Sea, peaks are covered with thriving trees. Awesome peaks uprise into the sky to overlook as far as you can, and you will watch all the scenery of Tianzi Mountain.
In Wulingyuan, if you want to enjoy from every aspect the unparalleled landscape here, you must choose different angles and time. To enjoy the sandstone peak forest, the Grand View gazebo is a good choice. Although there is a bit chilly on the morning of fall in Tianzi Mountain, when sun rises from Orient, you overlook and can watch all of the hundreds of beautiful peaks of Tianzi Mountain, and it will definitely make people sigh with emotion of the amazing work of nature and the grand view in the world created by God.
Didi Bridge is also named as Zisheng Bridge, which is a red sandstone. It is about 1 meter thick and 2 to 3 meters wide, but the location of it is 60 to 70 meters away from the bottom of valley. This bridge is like a single hull bridge which is cut by falchions and axes, and it is 100% inartificial.
It is also an important scenery spot of Tianzi Mountain. Looking down from the Didi Bridge will make people dazzle, and also there is no handrail on the bridge, so it's better that people don't walk on the bridge. The beautiful landscape of Wulingyuan seems not bringing people here convenience of working and living. Like farmers of other areas of China, the people live here from generation to generation. Tillage and harvest are their life of a year and another. Life of a year and another affected by the geologic environment. The farmland here is rather in short, so they have to plant their own rice to the high mountains, which is several kilometers away or more than 10 kilometers away from their homes. On the top of the mountains, which have not developed to peak forest, net-like rice lands are formed. This land, which is only 7 ha, are heaved to half-sky by the mountains. The rim of it is steep valley and as deep as no one can see the bottom. So the grand sky farmland are formed, which is also the unique farm scenery. After feeding in the sandstone peak forest in Tianzi Mountain, the magic of the first day of sunlight, going to make a venture of the mysterious Hualong stockaded village is a nice choice.
Hualong Village is also called Heilong Village. In legend, it is said to have relationship with banditai at that time. It is said at the period of the end of Ming Dynasty and the beginning of Qing Dynasty, many banditai make their citadels here. There are 3 toll gates in Hualong Village. The first name is Sorry, and it is indeed difficult to pass, and you even don't know what the next 2 will like.
Hualong Village, famous for its ruggedness and is as high as more than 300 meters. Around it are all cliffs, and it is one of the top 4 villages in Zhangjiajie. After entering it, the sandstone peaks are significant, and the magnificent sceneries are all in your eyes. To climb up the top of Hualong Village, only by this about 1 kilometer, one path to arrive. There are 3 hills on the top of the village, which occupies 30,000 square kilometers. Here, you can still find some vestiges left by bandits. I don't want to trace back what has happened here before. But the scenery here makes me acclaim as the peak of perfection. Rugged hypsography and steep cliffs. One godhole that nobody can break into is fully represented here. World Top Bridge is an inartificial bridge. It files across 2 peaks. The bridge is 3 meters wide, 5 meters thick, and 50 meters long. The comparable height is almost 400 meters, and it is a natural miracle that you can't miss. World Top Bridge belongs to a special type of sandstone peaks physiognomy. Some of the rocks under the bridge are collapsed by the weathering effect of flowing water, while because of huge and solid rock spot, rocks on the bridge form the side of half ridge and half man.
Bailong touring elevator is an important touring elevator tool Zhangjiajie constructs these years. It is a 100% exposure touring elevator which links to the forest park, and the vertical height of it 335 meters, which is as high as a 100-story building.
Going up by Bailong touring elevator, the scenery spot is Yuanjiajie. Overlooking on the stone stage, the Yellowstone Village and the Yaozi Village form a landscape painting, and the Golden Whip Brook and Sand Sword fossil appears now and then.
Under our feet, the gathering clouds and fogs in the village wreathe the mountain peaks and sometimes pervade like grand rivers and present the peculiar picture of green peaks on river.
To the tourists, rain will bring much inconvenience, but in Zhangjiajie, it is special pleasure to watch rain and the fog side after rain, and is also a grand view site that should not be missed when visiting Zhangjiajie.
Shui lies in the center of Wulingyuan scenery spot. In the valley basin that is less than 200 square meters, Golden Whip Brook, Suo Brook, Mandarin Duck Brook, and Dragon Tail Brook, which are the major brooks in the scenery spot, converge.
Around it, the peaks are beautiful and brooks bigger. Those brooks cut out east, west, south, and north gate. That's why it is called 水绕四门. From it to the west, there is a stone inscribed with Zhangjiajie Forest Park, and from here you enter the threshold of forest.
The Golden Whip Brook is 7.5 kilometers long. Brooks run between peaks, valleys, and clouds. It is quite silent here and the forest thrives. The local people all say that Golden Whip Brook is the most beautiful place of Zhangjiajie Forest Park.
I listen to chatters of brooks and the songs sung by birds. The tall and uprising trees around me are all precious nan tree.
The feeling of walking in the forest is really good. Wulingyuan can be named as a gene store of plants. The woody plants here are as many as more than 1,000. Only the kinds of arbors are 2 times more than those in Europe. Therefore, the good biological environment are welcomed by tourists. In the local area, there was even a saying goes like this: Golden Whip Brook won't dry up even in drought and always fresh after a long rain. Last fall, the local government raised in Golden Whip Brook 150 giant salamanders.
At the place near exit, there is an uprising rock named Golden Whip Rock, and that's also why the brook is named as Golden Whip Brook. Golden Whip Rock is a famous scenery spot of Wulingyuan. The divine eagle and the whip accompany each other, breathing and vivid. The Yellowstone village is in fact in a huge rocky mountain, which is 1,100 above the sea level. There are vertical cliffs around the rocky mountain, but the top is comparatively flat, which is more than 16 ha. It is said that Zhang Liang's teacher, Yellow Rock Man, once refined sand here, and thus it is called Yellowstone Village. But there is another saying that rocks here all reflect golden color in sun. In Yellowstone Village, because there are cliffs around, so it is very good for viewing the scenery, and thus there are a lot of gazebos. Travel around the village, all the peaks are under your feet. All the peculiar sceneries near and far away are in your eyes. So in the local area, there is a saying goes like, not to visit Yellowstone Village, not to visit Zhangjiajie. Tianli Gallery is between 2 mountains and is a 5.8 kilometers long valley. In different seasons, different weathers appear in it, and you can view different teams of various scalps. And vivid natural sculptured pictures to enjoy the scenery of Tianli Gallery. You can take touring trolley, the marvelous peaks and rocks along the valley, and the various verdure forests, construct flowing landscape painting. Zhangjiajie is worldwide famous for the unique Caucasic peak forest. However, they are only located in the area of Wulingyuan. The various rock peaks of Tianli Gallery are only at the common boundary of sandstone and calcareous rock, so the mountains of Tianli Gallery is not the most steep, and you should taste carefully the scenery of Wulingyuan. Suoxi Valley is transliterated from Tujia language, which means foggy haze. Walking in the landscape of Suobrook Valley, the charming springside gradually unveils. Trees thrive, wild cherry are blossoming, cliffs which are as high as dozens jump upright. An enormous rock seems waving in the wind blowing from mountains. Baby Blue Lake is shining in the sun, quite silent. In the forest, birds chatter and flowers flourish. People can feel the solitary scenery when walking in it. Suoxi Lake is a man-made lake which lies at the entrance of Suoxi Valley Nature Reserve. Because the lake water is supplied to people living in Wulingyuan, so till now it is not open to the tourists. So common, tourists can only have a glimpse of it by buses. Since 1999, the government of Wulingyuan had made many environment protecting policies to release the pressure that tourism has brought to the scenery spot. To protect the waterhead, all the touring facilities in the scenery spot and the working and living areas have to move out before the time deadline and let the quality of water reach the nation first-class drinking criteria. To protect the aerosphere environment, the off-gas of all cars driven in the scenery spot should all reach the European 2 effluent standard. In addition, in the more than 260 square kilometers scenery spot, the general smoking ban are also carried out by thousands of tourists self-consciously.
Precious Peak Lake lies in the south part of Suoxi Valley, and in the Wulingyuan scenery spot, it is the only scenery spot that is mainly about water. In Precious Peak Lake scenery spot, the first sight you see is this grand waterfall. The waterhead of this waterfall is originally very small, and after excavating by people, it became so magnificent. The iron chain bridge below the waterfall and the green bamboos nearby were once backdrops in the soap opera of Journey to the West. Pleasure in the wild can also be found in Precious Peak Lake. Travelers can take a rest when exhausted with mountain climbing. According to the introduction of an administrator, the monkey king is sheer wild and inclined to injure people. In order to keep the mountain monkeys here, it was shut away, whereas the monkeys set free on the mountain are its children or grandchildren. As long as you bring the monkeys meeting presents, they will flourish their hands in front of you. But bear in mind that don't play tricks on monkeys, for they are still filled with charity. It would be the best to treat them with courtesy. Precious Peak Lake is actually an artificial lake in the scenery spot. It is located between the cliffs of Precious Peak Mountains and is uplifted highly by the mountain-formed basin. A suspended heavenly lake halfway on the mountainside, therefore, the surface of the lake cannot be seen from outside the mountains, and the waterfall at the entrance of the scenery spot runs out of the dam of the Precious Peak Lake. One can imagine how high the waterfall is to the lake surface and how vast and mighty and the flow of the water is. Precious Peak Lake develops from the influx consisting of rainwater, spring water, and underground water, the primary functions of which are to prevent flood, irrigate, and generate electricity. Owing to the good quality of water, it also serves as drinking water for the local Wulingyuan residents. Storage battery boats are provided on the lake to go boating on the lake, which is as long as 9 kilometers, and enjoy lakefront mountains covered with green trees against green water in the lake. At one side of the cliff, a boat stops here, and whenever a yacht passes by, the waiting lads will sing the Tujia folk song. Although it seems like assembly line work, the young men are indeed endowed with good voice. Musical dialogue is a local convention of Tujia ethnic minority group. Every March 3 in Chinese lunar calendar is the right day for musical dialogue. At that time, even more local lads and lasses come to precious Peak Lake for boating and to express their friendship and love by way of musical dialogues. There are well over 100 caves in Wulingyuan, where the best exploited one can be the Hualong Cave. There is an underground river called Xiangshui River in Hualong Cave. The full length of this river is 3 kilometers, but only 800 meters have been developed. To proceed by boat, walls and stalagmite on both banks show themselves indistinctly, like poems and paintings in a shroud of obscurity and mystery. In this cave, there has already been an artificial pavement for the tourists to walk on, which rises and falls and turns to the east and to the west from time to time, interlocking each other like a spider web. From the bottom of the water surface to the ceiling of the cave, the fall of it reaches more than 100 meters. As long as you observe it carefully, under some dim light, there are some plants growing here. According to the experts' textual research, plant seeds may have been rushed down by water from high mountains, but they may also have been carried in here by small animals living in the cave. The lamplight replaces sunlight, so by the limited photosynthesis, some plants can grow gradually. Hualong Cave is generally regarded by the Geological Authority as the largest in scale, the most comprehensive in content, and the most beautiful in scenery, all-round cave champion in China. The body of the cave is both huge and deep, possessing 4 stories altogether, 7.6 kilometers in length and 100,000 square kilometers in area. Until now, 13 halls and 96 corridors have been discovered. In the cave, the marvelous spectacles of waterfalls, underground rivers, and innumerous stalagmites, stone pillars, stone flowers, and etc. present a variety of posters. Among all the stalactites, the magic needle for calming the sea and the precious throne of the Dragon King are the most amazing. The magic needle for calming the sea, shaped by drops of water for millions of years, is as high as 19.2 meters, with a diameter of 10 centimeters, transparent all over all the way to the ceiling of the place. Since it is still growing now, thick at ends and thin in the middle part, the management authority has it insured in 1998, and the insurance is 100 million RMB, which makes the threshold of local scenery insurance in World Natural Heritage. This cave, discovered by a local militia soldier, is hailed as national treasure. I thought that the cave is just a cave, and accessible caves for the tourists throughout China are over 100. Even the most fantastic stalactites is nothing but people's affected description. However, the grandness of the Hualong Cave in its power is beyond people's imagination, resulting in gradual decline. Tianmen Mountain, located in the south of Zhangjiajie city, only 8 kilometers far from the downtown, is a famous mountain first recorded in the history of Zhangjiajie. Tianmen Mountain is famous for its Tianmen Cave, according to the historic records in the Three Kingdoms. For example, the year of AD 263, Tianmen Cave opened on its own suddenly, which was seen as auspicious in the eyes of Wu Emperor Sun Xiu. That is the origin of the name of Tianmen Cave. The highest peak of Tianmen Mountains has an elevation of 1,518.6 meters, and the average height is about 1,400 meters. It was approved as a national forest park in June 1992, with an area of as vast as over 190 square kilometers. Meanwhile, it is also a national geological park and a famous tour scenic spot in Hunan province. After experiencing several orogeny in the history of geology, in addition to hundreds of millions of denudation by wind and rain, Tianmen Mountain formed a unique and unusual karst platform's physiognomy, with precipitous and changing panorama of sceneries. Comparatively complete secondary intact forests have been preserved in the peak, where there's an abundant plant resources, and the rare primitive mountain dove trees involucrate a community with entangling vines, tall ancient trees, stalagmite and cairns everywhere. In 1999, the feat of many world master aviators driving airplanes across Tianmen Cave once drew the world's attention. On March 17, 2006, superfine aerobatic flight of Russian Air Forces was held there, which once again brought Tianmen Mountain to the focus of the world. Sitting at the upper course of Li River, Kuzhu village by Maoyang River bank was once prosperous during Ming and Qing dynasties. There is a small population in Kuzhu village. Most of the young people have already worked outside the village, leaving the elders and children at home. In the era of flourish water transportation, many wealthy businessmen emerged nearby. From the grand houses along the streets, one can figure the prosperity at that time. It is said that during the period at the height of power and splendor, the local timbers, Chinese herbal medicines, mountain products, etc. were all carried out by ships, whereas agricultural products, textile and others were brought in by ship. But at the beginning of 20th century, the nearby area was attacked by bandits, so the ships or boats were frightened at passing by.
山的王国，云的故乡，云的呀故乡。进梦里，又融在心上。满山的鸽子花，张开那可爱的翅膀，不老的歌谣，化作那瀑布在歌唱。火火耶，火火耶，美丽的张家界，有我的梦想，神奇的张家界，有我的渴望。风儿那个告诉我，鸟儿那个告诉我，这里是山的王国，云的故乡。